Last week, my friends and I attended a small concert in New Jersey. I'm a trans girl in my mid-20s, and this was my first concert ever. It's not the biggest deal in the world or anything, but I got to meet the lead singer of my favorite band and see her perform live in person, and I want to tell you all about this band and what that experience was like. There's a whole story behind the attachment I formed with their music. First, let me tell you a little bit about Pigeon Pit, because I love the heck out of this band, and I really want you to appreciate how great they are as performers and artists. Pigeon Pit is a folk punk band from Olympia, Washington, headed by lead singer and guitarist Loam Zaliander, a trans girl with a really uniquely wavering voice that sounds like she could break into tears at any moment. There's a raw passion behind her vocals, and that passion shines through in the way she describes her art and her band to people during interviews as well as on stage. In this interview with Clarion Call, Loam said, "Let's get wild with it and love our humanity while we can, all our contradictions and flaws that make us real. This is a bunch of love songs for how fucked up we are and how beautiful it is, how we try anyway. How we struggle every day to change our shared reality, to produce a world around us that makes sense to us. When you see a genocide unfolding on your phone, see fascism and AI swallowing up reality, and you force yourself to push it down and not respond to your humanity inside you that calls you to intervene. When it feels like there's nothing you can do, that's what kills the human spirit, because that force of love and cooperation is humanity. That's what makes sense inside of us. Giving a shit is the unpopular opinion. I'm just writing about what it feels like for me to try to hang on in a world that's trying to kill the human spirit." Over the years, Pigeon Pit has grown from being just one or two performers at a time to a 6-person group touring the country. Even with the additional members, none of the music's soul has been lost. Rather, it's only grown stronger, with each new album hitting close to home in a way I can strongly relate to, even as I enter new chapters in my life. Now, I'm going to provide some context as for why I care so deeply about this band, and it might be a little bit triggering for some of you. I'll try not to go into too much detail, but it's a little harrowing. Just a heads up. In the year of our gourd, 2022, I was struggling. I had been trapped in a vicious cycle of poverty for a couple years. I was going back to living with my mom. Almost all of my social interactions were limited to Discord servers, and I was very early into my transition. Now, this is hard to talk about because we in the trans community are under so much scrutiny all the time for the slightest infractions, but the truth is, those early days of transition can be absolutely miserable. It does get better, obviously. I wouldn't still be here if transition was as lonely and terrifying as some people would have you believe. But having just started HRT, I was going through a second puberty in my early 20s, and having the awkwardness of teenaged emotions combined with adult responsibilities and relationships made life really difficult for me. I was experiencing these manic states of depression where I would be super joyful in the morning and soul-crushingly depressed in the evenings. I was also in a long-distance relationship, and I constantly missed my partner. I wanted to feel his arms holding me tight, and I cried myself to sleep sometimes because I missed him so badly. We talked through Discord every day, but the physical sensation wasn't there. It wasn't the same. I had a grindy job working as a trucker. While the job itself wasn't terrible, management clearly didn't like me. They would find things about my performance to complain about, whereas other employees got a lot more leeway. If someone else forgot to get a signature, they'd say, "Well, he's a very productive employee," but if I forgot a signature, well, I was first in line when it came time for layoffs. Being on the road all day, every day, wasn't good for me either. I desperately needed to be surrounded by supportive people, and instead, my physical interactions with other people were limited to saying a few words to a couple hillbillies in the middle of South Illinois, and at the end of every 10-second interaction, they'd say, "Thank you, sir." I didn't feel like a girl. I didn't feel like I had a place in this world. I felt like I was drifting alone through space. When I was at my lowest, everything that upset me was as painful as losing a loved one. If I got yelled at or inconvenienced, I didn't feel annoyed and frustrated like I normally would. I was grieving. It was like one side of my brain, the logical side, was telling me, I understood that my life isn't actually that bad. I have it pretty good, in fact, but the other side of my brain kept screaming, kill me, kill me, kill me now, make it stop, please make it fucking stop. Why, God, why are you doing this to me? I hate you so much. I hate me. So I would pass the time by listening to music and podcasts. I practiced my singing and voice training in the truck all day until I was able to come home to my kitties and relax on Discord with people who really cared about me. And my best friend sent me a few songs by her favorite band, Pigeon Pit. Their older songs were mostly performed by two vocalists, one of whom played guitar. She told me her name is Loams, and she's beautiful. Loams' early album, Shut In, was written 10 years ago now, when she was newly out as trans and going through a lot of hard times. She still performs several of those songs at live shows because they defined the tone of her music and made such an impact. I listened to Pigeon Pit in the truck every day after that. Their music reminds me of my best friend. It reminds me of the distance between me and my home. It reminds me of all the other trans people out there I haven't met yet who are going through the exact same thing I was. And I discovered one track that really, really spoke to me. A song that Loams wrote as a letter to her child self who was never allowed to be a girl. That song is called Wichita. Wichita sounds exactly how my depression felt at the time. I can go back, play that song, and feel tears welling up in my eyes because I'm reminded of how hard I struggled to make it through every single day, worrying that I would lose my mind, sobbing into my pillow that night. I'm getting emotional now just thinking about it. When I was that early into my transition, I wanted nothing more than for people to recognize me as a girl. And when people didn't see me as one, I blamed only myself, feeling like I failed to communicate who I really was, like I wasn't trying hard enough. I was terrified all the time, and every stranger I met inspired some new way to send me spiraling into a dysphoric mania. Not only that, I had other trans people in my life to worry about. I didn't want them to die, but they were dealing with even worse conditions than I was, and the fear that that agony would take them constantly loomed at the back of my mind. What if something happens to them? What if something happens to me? What if I die without ever getting to leave this town and live with the people I love? Wichita made me feel heard. It made me feel real. It comforted me during the darkest time in my life. When my best friend disappeared without saying anything, she was in the psych ward, but I had no idea if or when she was coming back. But she did, and Pigeon Pit helped keep me going through all of that. They kept me sane, and when I got to see my partner and my best friend in person again, we roamed the East Coast, singing songs and making new stories to tell. We bonded over another of Pigeon Pit's songs, this one featuring the whole band, with the violin, drums, and more guitarists with backing vocals. This song is called Milk Crates, the melancholic melody that captures the futility of desperately screaming at the world that it needs to change, only for your cries to fall on deaf ears. But its undercurrent of hope shines through as it crescendos into making me feel the joy of escaping into my crowd, my loved ones, my people. Those of us who have made a change in our lives and hold the power to change others. We're all trapped in this oppressive system, but we can make a better, smaller world for ourselves. So it's only natural that I would have a bit of a strong reaction to my first concert featuring them. So we waited at this venue for over an hour. Website said doors would be open at 5. We got there at 5:15. Doors were locked, and the website had removed the 5 o'clock listing from the site. So show was supposed to start at 6. Doors didn't open till like 6:15. It's 100 degrees outside, so we're cooking, and I start to smell rancid. Like, I'm talking the strongest pit stink I could muster. I'm talking like deodorant evaporated instantly. I'm talking full unfiltered body odor. People in line behind us are starting to notice. So we get inside and we sprint for the free water at the bar. After rehydrating ourselves, we make our way down the stairs and hang out for a bit. It's a smallish venue, nothing too fancy. Went over to the merch table so my friends can buy some shirts, and we chat with the guy at Pigeon Pit's table for a bit. Now, none of us realized it at the time, but that dude was Jim Ryan, the pedal steel guitarist. He was super friendly. He had this vibe. Like, I could see myself shooting the shit with him in the basement at a friend's house. Like, he'd just be the life of the party. The first band to open this show was Shy Godwin. And while none of us were familiar with their work, we were all impressed at their ability to get the crowd really hyped up and moving. They had the song called Do What You Want. It was loud, but not in like a heavy metal way. It was that perfect volume where it makes you feel like the sounds are resonating in your chest without damaging your hearing at all. And after Shy Godwin's set was over, we walked back to the merch table and chatted with the lead singer, Lee Woods. Her energy was through the roof. Like, so happy that the crowd played so well off of their music, and she was ecstatic when I told her this was the first live show I'd ever been to. That performance was electrifying and set the tone for the rest of the evening. And I was a little awkward at first. I'd never done this before, so I was feeling a little weird about moving my body to the music while surrounded by so many people. But during the next band set, I was standing next to a pretty trans girl who was trying to headbang to the rhythm without spilling her drink. She glanced at me a couple times, but we didn't make eye contact. She made me a bit more comfortable just by being there. Now, the second band to go on was Pinkwash, and I hate to say it, but the crowd wasn't nearly as energized by their performance. I can't blame them too much. I mean, the band was just two people, one of whom was sitting down at his drums, and the other just kind of holding still, screaming into his microphone, not really giving the crowd much to work with. But there is a base level of excitement that comes with hearing loud guitar noises. I was able to vibe through it, it's not like we had a bad time. A couple people actually started dancing to some of the more high-tempo songs, so, I wouldn't call Pinkwash a failure, just more like a palate cleanser than anything. Between shows, at some point, one of my friends pointed out that Loams Oleander, the lead singer of Pigeon Pit, was taking over the merch table. I was a little self-conscious because my hair was pretty greasy, but the stench of my pit wasn't as strong as it had been outside, so I clamped my arms down and we made our way over. Loams was really, really friendly and sincere. I got to tell her how much her music meant to me, how it got me through a really dark time in my life, and I'll never forget the way she reacted. She just said, "Hell yeah, hell yeah." Her face lit up, and I could just tell she understood completely. This was far from the first time she had heard someone tell her that, and it won't be the last either, but it still means something to her every time. I felt a bit of kinship with her in that moment, I'm not famous, my art has reached a few people, and when those people tell me they've felt a positive impact on their lives because of my work, I have the same, default response. I go, hell yeah. It's hard to find a better way to convey that feeling. A mixture of validation, gratitude, sincere joy at the realization that something you toiled and struggled through had wonderful results. Loams can never fully account for the amount of good she's done for me and every other person she's inspired. But now she knows I exist, and for a moment, we understood each other, even if she was admittedly a little drunk. I bought a CD, and I directed her attention towards my best friend who introduced me to her music in the first place. I said, she's an even bigger fan of your work than I am, and oh my gosh, she was so nervous, but it was adorable. After our little meet and greet, we made our way closer to the stage while the band started setting up, and eventually the show started, and let's just say Pigeon Pit knows how to make an impression.
Yeah, that got everyone's attention. The first words out of Loams' mouth were, "Come closer to the stage. When we're up here, we're all family." I could tell she meant it. I jumped at the opportunity to get as close to the stage as I could. I was in the second row towards the middle of the crowd. I felt hot, sweaty, nervous, but also safe and happy. There was a warm kindness in her voice. Her speeches were moving, invoking the kind of inspiration that really makes you want to get off your ass and do something. The performances were electric. The songs being performed live sounded much heavier than they did in the albums. I was mesmerized by every band member's face. So much love, so much passion, the way they moved, the way they danced, the way Loams' every word poured out with intent and meaning behind every syllable. This was a spectrum of emotion I have never experienced before. It didn't feel the same as being entertained by a movie, a street performer, or a really good book. It felt like I was experiencing a form of self-actualization. There were aspects of Pigeon Pit's performance that made me feel like I understood them perfectly, and there were aspects that made me feel like I wanted to do the things they do. Seeing Loams jumping around, riffing with her friends on stage, blazing through a wild act with a broken guitar string like it was nothing. I wasn't just headbanging or swaying in time to the music anymore. When they played Milk Crates, I was up and jumping around. I was all over the place. I wasn't just singing along, I was screaming, and my friends were right behind me doing the same. That song was most important to me, and I guess it's one of their biggest hits because the lead into that song was the most impassioned speech we heard all night. I didn't get any of it on camera, but it seems like she's done similar speeches at other shows, so I'll play a little bit of footage here.
Northwest, it's like a really beautiful day, and I don't know, this is a song about waking up and feeling just the way that our society is structured, feeling it in your body, in these really acute ways where, you know, in everyday life when us and the people that we love can't access safe drugs or Narcan or other harm reduction supplies like testing kits, or just safe places to fucking get high. When we as like trans people can't fucking access hormones or don't feel fucking safe walking down the street, or are like denied access to surgeries and just fucking, I don't know, just how shitty it fucking is to be trans, or when we're denied safe abortion and are forced to give birth to produce more fucking workers. And this is a system that's designed to keep us in poverty. And then there's also just these more general ways where we have to fucking get up and go to work if we want to live in a house and have food to eat. And no one should fucking pay for food. No one should have to pay for food and housing. And, you know, anytime that we have, every single time that we have stood up to try to access more power for ourselves, the only thing that politicians have or will do is respond by funding policing. They're bulldozing a massive old growth forest in Atlanta to build the biggest military police training facility that has ever existed, and the only thing that they have in their mind is to keep us fucking down and to keep us powerless and relying on them. And this is a song that's not about that. This is a song about freedom.
So, yeah, hell of a show. One of my friends plays guitar, and after the show he felt so inspired, he told me he felt he wanted to start doing live shows. He wants to be in a band like Pigeon Pit, a band that loves each other and has tons of fun playing off of the crowd and creating this intoxicating feedback loop of energizing a whole crowd of people, bringing us closer together than we thought we could be, making us feel real, making us remember how much we love ourselves and our friends, reminding us what's most important in life, how far we've come and how much work we have left to do before we're done, how much love we have left to give, how much heart we have to break. The future looks dim, but we can make it brighter for ourselves. And doing so will make it brighter for other people too. I want to inspire others the way Pigeon Pit inspires me to keep going. So if you're trans, if you're young, and you don't see a way out of your shitty situation, I want you to know something. The big wide world is a terrible place, but I've been to a world worth living in, and I hope to see you there. Like a dog tugging on a rope, I don't even know where I'd go if they let go. My selfish narrow-mindedness, they put up a chain link fence. Now there's nothing I can do but bark my head off. But we're not fucking playing. I got these teeth for a reason. I know that it's life or death, I can't forget it. I light up when you kiss my forehead. I tell you I'm just fucking exhausted from work. I don't wanna get drunk, I don't wanna go out. It feels like survival just isn't enough, is it? The winter passes, my jaw unclenches, the ferns outside my window learn to open up. And there are things in your life that you were made to run away from, but it's how you grieve, or your pain, or any other kind of love. I'd let go of my hold on a happy ending, backed into a corner with no horizon, where I once felt despair, now I feel free. Put my trust in broken milk crates underneath the trestle by the vet's hall. Call for help and Markle. Found your mouth under the blankets. This might be the last night I can taste country duets and inhalants. I put my trust in broken milk crates underneath the trestle by the vet's hall. Call for help and Markle. Found your mouth under the blankets. This might be the last night I can taste country duets and inhalants. I put my trust in broken milk crates underneath the trestle by the vet's hall. Call for help and Markle. Found your mouth under the blankets. This might be the last night I can taste. I put my trust in broken milk crates underneath the trestle by the vet's hall. Call for help and Markle. Found your mouth under the blankets. This might be the last night I can taste. But you do it in inhalants. No job, no place to get away from. I've been to a world worth living in. No rent, no lies to memorize. No fucked up world to drown out. Before I end this video, I have a few quick song recommendations for you, because I'm giving you homework. You don't just get to watch this video and then click off. You have to go check out Pigeon Pit now. I told you how much I love them, and you have to be a fan now, if you're not already. Easiest recommendations are Milk Crates and Wichita. Everybody loves those songs. Those songs are the best. I talked about them in this video at length. The first song by Pigeon Pit I ever heard was Nights Like These. I thought that was the best possible introduction to their sound and their vibe. Another really good one that was a big hit at the concert, was Soup for My Family. The meaning of that song is really fucking empowering and wonderful, and I really want y'all to check that one out. And shout out to River Song, which is my best friend's favorite song. Those lyrics mean the world to her, and they mean a lot to me too. And on the off chance that any of the band members of Pigeon Pit see this video, I want you to know that I love your art, and you're an inspiration, and I love you, and please never stop making music. Thank you so much for everything you've done for me and my best friend and everybody. Have a nice day.